and I appreciate everybody who joined us for the get-together. There was about 15 people, and had a really good time and a good meal. So
That's fantastic.
so
Here's
this
our
is
picture,
the
everybody.
there we go. There's one with all the faces, but we're gonna just keep that under wraps so that people feel comfortable. And we're gonna go with updates and user emails. Well, this is an update, and it was the title. Hopefully made you read this and remember to put 2FA because it is so easy. In fact, I called my niece, like, hey, do you have 2FA on everything? And she has 3 kids and she's homeschooling and that kind of thing. And so I definitely am the uncle that will check in and say, are you sure? Because she got into crypto because I recommended it. And so, I big hats off to her. She actually has multiple things of Bitcoin. So, good for her. And this is just a reminder. Like I said, I'm going to remind you at least till the end of the year to get 2FA or MFA on everything that you have, not just crypto, but your bank account, your email, because they weasel their way in to everything in your life, and they want to find a weak spot. And when they find that weak spot, then let's just say they get into your phone company because you don't have 2FA on that, and so then they take over your phone account. Then they give a SIM swap attack, and then they take that phone that they just got your phone number and they go into your Coinbase. And that's why I've said, the SMS 2FA is not good enough. You want to get something that is local and that's no one can steal. So if people have questions, maybe we'll do a live stream on Saturday, a tech only. Haven't done one in a while because it's been a busy time, but I'm more than willing to do that if people have questions. So we're going to go on to Curve Finance scam app resurfaces amid fake crypto app surge. This is the third time I went back and counted because this is the third time it's happened. A fake app impersonating the popular decentralized finance platform Curve Finance has resurfaced on Apple's App Store for the third time this year, targeting unsuspecting users again. Despite previous warnings and removals, the app continues to make its way onto the App Store, attracting downloads and ranking high in finance categories across multiple regions. So we're going to go over again some ways to spot this, because I was on the phone with my niece and I was like, okay, you need to download a 2FA app. She already had it. She just hadn't updated it, but it brought back some good things to remember when you're putting an app on your phone. Number one, the Google Authenticator has been impersonated before, and so that's why I chose it. And so what you want to do is you want to look and see how many, we'll scroll down here because it might be a little bit easier. There are 741,000 ratings, which means this has been around a while. The thing that I can't find anymore, because I guess I haven't really looked, you used to see how many downloads there were, and that was a good sense of, is this the real one or the fake one? And if a rating has, 5.0 on everything and it has 10 or 100 ratings, you might want to think about checking to make sure you have the right one to download. So see how many ratings there are. If they're a high number, then you probably have the right one, but make sure you're getting the right one so you don't get the wrong one on your phone and then, get into trouble. So we're going to go into scams, hacks, and breaches. North Korean malware evades Apple notarization, targets Mac OS users. North Korean hackers seem to have created malware that evades Apple security checks. The apps seem to be experimental, researchers say. It was the first time that they have seen this technology used to compromise Apple Mac OS operating system, but it will not run on up-to-date systems. So that is one reason why to keep everything up to date, because they keep updates going so that they patch things like this. 5 of the 6 malicious apps had developer account signatures that had been temporarily notarized by Apple, the researchers wrote. It's unclear in this case if the malware has been used against any targets or if the attacker is preparing for a new form of delivery, they added. They concluded it was likely testing for greater weaponization. North Korean hackers have a reputation for ingenuity. They were caught exploiting a vulnerability in Chrome in October to steal crypto wallet credentials. Allegations were also made the same month that North Koreans had a hand in developing the Cosmos Network liquid staking modules. So be careful out there, because we just don't know what we don't know. Make sure that you're downloading the right things and keep things up to date. Phishing scam via fake Zoom link costs Giga investor $6 million. We've talked about this before, at least 2 times. A crypto meme coin investor holding Giga tokens lost basically $6 million in a phishing attack involving a fake Zoom meeting link. According to the crypto investigation from Scam Sniffer, the victim clicked on a fake Zoom call invite link, which redirected them to a deceptive website designed to harvest sensitive wallet data. This is where you do have to be careful. If you look at this, you'll see that, compare carefully. This looks very similar to the one down below, but the domain is us.04-zoom.us. Look at the domain itself. This is the domain zoom.us. And this front part, us.02web, is a subdomain. So be very careful. The dash and the dot can determine, that they are definitely different domains. So since the game, still in the game, and that's the person that lost all that money, said that the phishing website installed malware onto their laptop, which the hacker later used to get funds into three crypto wallets into one before cashing out. On-chain analysis from On-Chain Lens found the hacker stole 95.3 million Giga tokens from the victim, valued at about $6 million. So I don't think this person held it in a hardware wallet. It would be great to know that, but be careful out there. Crypto news. So Dune launches dashboard tracking 2.5 billion lost to crypto hacks and phishing scams. Crypto analysis platform Dune has launched a new dashboard mapping the extent of crypto-related cybercrimes, documenting over 5,500 incidents of hacks, exploits, and phishing scams across blockchain ecosystem. The platform's hacks, exploits, and social engineering dashboard represents one of the most comprehensive efforts yet to quantify crime in crypto. And so we'll take a look at that dashboard. It's, I've logged in before, and it'll kind of have some updates, and you can see all the people that have lost money. Really lost crypto, aka money. And, some of these, like fake phishing, don't know what it is, but it just kind of gives you an idea of how active that things are, and how active it will probably get as we get Bitcoin higher. So anybody that's in Detroit, congratulations, but Detroiters will be able to pay their taxes in crypto next year using PayPal. Detroiters will soon be able to pay their taxes and other city fees with crypto through PayPal, according to a Thursday announcement from the Detroit's Office of Treasury. The crypto payment option, which will be offered through a secure payment platform managed by PayPal, according to the release, is expected to go live in mid-2025. A spokesperson for the city told CoinDesk the city will only accept cryptocurrency supported by PayPal, which is Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and PayPal's own stablecoin. But all crypto payments will be settled in USD. So we are seeing, governments, at least local governments, being able to take crypto, and that's great to see. Canary Capital applies to launch spot HBAR exchange traded products. So we talked about that earlier in this article, and you can read through it if you'd like. It's fun reading, but go ahead, and it's great to see that something's happening with HBAR. AI firm Genesis Group adopts Bitcoin as primary treasury assets. Shares spike 50%. And that's, shares, I don't care the share price, but I think it's great that they are doing that as a treasury. Artificial intelligence company Genesis Group has adopted Bitcoin as its primary treasury asset, committing 90% of the current and future reserves to be held in Bitcoin, according to a press release. Shares in the Singapore-based company rose as much as 50% in pre-market trading before giving up much of the move. They remain 10% higher than Monday's close. It's funny. When we were in Palm Springs, I was talking to my husband about this, and he's like, "What do you mean the Treasury?" I'm like, "Well, the Treasury, because Microsoft is going to have a vote December 10th on putting some of their Treasury with their cash reserves into to Bitcoin. We'll see if the shareholders what they vote and if the board will approve that. But it would be interesting, and I don't know this. What other assets do large companies like Microsoft and Apple consider to be held in their treasury? Is it only cash, or do they also hold other assets like gold or something like that? Maybe treasuries. But it'll be interesting if Microsoft does that, how it might ripple into Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, and large companies like that. Trader who lost 26 million to copy paste error says it's been max pain. A trader who recently revealed they had lost 26 million back in June after copying in the wrong deposit address says the experience has been max pain. I could see that would be true. That they accidentally transferred 7,912 Resno restaked ETH worth 26.4 million at current price to a safe contract address on June 19th. Unfortunately, they said they entered the incorrect address and sent the funds to a safe module instead of its own safe, meaning the tokens were locked and unable to be withdrawn. When asked about how the mistake was made, quote, in one word, wrong copy. Although wrong copy is 2 words, but 1 word. So be careful when you are sending coins. Maybe do a test, maybe verify instead of the front 5 and the back 5, front 5, a middle set, and then the back. So just be careful out there. So we're going on to technology news. And this will bring something back for everybody. The voice of America Online's You've Got Mail has died at the age 74. On Tuesday, Elwood Edwards, the voice behind the online service America's Online iconic You've Got Mail greeting, died at the age of 74, one day before his 75th birthday, according to the Cleveland's WKYC studios, where he worked for many years. The greetings became a cultural touchstone in 1990s and early 2000s in the early internet era. It was heard by hundreds of millions of users when they logged into the service and new mail was waiting for them. So this is for Elwood. We're going to... You've got mail. So everybody, I hope you've heard that, and I remember that way back in the 90s. So Microsoft Exchange adds warning to emails abusing spoofing flaw. This has not been fixed, so just pay attention. Microsoft has disclosed a high severity Exchange server vulnerability that allows attackers to forge legitimate sending on incoming mails and making malicious messages much more effective. The problem is that SMTP, that's how mail is sent, servers parse the recipient address differently, which leads to email spoofing. During my research, I did not find a single mail provider that correctly parses the from field according to RFC standards, he added. The current implementation allows some non-RFC 5322 compliant P2 from addresses, just think of the from address, to pass, which can lead to the mail client, for example, Microsoft Outlook, displaying a forged sender as if it were legitimate. While Microsoft has not patched the vulnerability and will accept emails from those malformed headers, the company says Exchange servers now detect and prepend a warning to malicious emails after installing Exchange Server Update. So if you see something new from an Exchange server, sometimes you don't even know if you're on an Exchange server. It's on the back end. If you see something that says this may not be from the right person, pay attention to that and make sure that it is from the right person or company or whatever, and go to their website instead of clicking on any emails. Microsoft investigates OneDrive issue causing macOS app freezes. Microsoft is investigating a newly acknowledged issue causing macOS applications to hang when opening or saving files in OneDrive. As the company explained, this known issue impacts only systems running macOS Sequoia, Apple's latest operating system release. Opening or saving files within desktop or documents folder can cause the file app to freeze. This occurs on macOS 15, the company said on Friday, to support document tracking the recent issues in OneDrive. We are investigating the issue and will provide more information when available. So if you have a freeze when you're saving on OneDrive, it's not just you, it is a lot of people. D-Link won't fix critical bugs in 60,000 exposed EOL modems. And we've talked about this, but there's some good news, and I'll share that in a second. Tens of thousands of exposed D-Link routers have reached their end of life and are vulnerable to critical security issues that allows the unauthenticated remote attacker to change any user's password and take complete control of the device. If you have a D-Link, you might want to think, well, if you have any router that is really old, you might want to think about updating it. But if you look at this particular D-Link router, and I did, this is a page where you can see what kind of hardware is run on the internet. I think it's really cool. I just kind of stumbled across it during this article. But you can see that the majority of the 60,000 are from Taiwan. And there's, 5 that we can find in Norway and 1 in the United Kingdom. So there's not a lot that are in the US. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting is that when you look at where they say Taiwan is from, they say Taiwan, a province of China. So I don't know who actually runs this site or where they got their data, but I didn't know Taiwan officially was a province of China. And I know that's going to be fought about for the future, but there we have it. So check your hardware, invest in something, invest in yourself, invest in your safety. If you have something that's old, technology wise, and it is the gateway for the internet to come into your home, consider updating to a newer version. So iOS 18.2, which is not out yet, and it's in beta, so you can test it. I'm not going to test anything in beta that's on a phone that I need to make phone calls. Adds default selection for managing your preference or your preferred apps. iOS 18.2 included a new default apps section that can be found in the Settings app, which can be used to manage your default apps for the iPhone. This feature that Apple promised would be coming into the European Union, but actually available worldwide. But there's a little caveat here. In the United States, you can use the default app interface to choose your preferred email, call filtering, browser, and passwords and keyboards. The selection for messaging and calling don't list anything other than messages and FaceTime and phone, respectively. But you can set FaceTime or phone as a default calling app. In the EU, users should have more options for choosing non-Apple apps for their default, as Apple is required to allow iPhone users in Europe to swap out their messaging and phone apps, in addition to the others. EU are also available to delete core apps like Messages, App Store, Safari, Camera, and Photos, which means if you are in the EU right now, you could select Signal as your default phone provider. But if someone on the other end doesn't have Signal, well, that's an issue. But at least you don't have to use the phone app itself. And, that's kind of weird to think because I don't think most people realize it. But when you make a phone call on your iPhone, you're actually using Apple's phone app. You can swap it out with something else to use to make the default calls. But unlike, your typical landline, the only option is that hardware. But on your smartphones, you can use different apps for those type of things. And Apple's new iPhone update is locking out law enforcement out of the phones. Apple made your iPhone more secure, and apparently no one really noticed until law enforcement got locked out of devices they had previously or were trying to crack. Last week, 404 Media reported on a new phenomenon according to occurring that was freaking out law enforcement. iPhones that were being stored for forensics investigations were mysteriously rebooting, making it harder for Leos to collect evidence from the devices. Now, a researcher has found that he's resolved the mystery. Apple quietly rolled out a new feature on 18.1 that reboots a user's phone if it has not been unlocked for a certain period of time, which is great to hear. If you reboot and you don't log in for the first time, it makes your iPhone much more secure. The other thing that it does is if you have some malware on your iPhone, when you reboot, it flushes that. It's harder for them to be able to write that to a place in memory or store it on the phone to have that installed each time you reboot. So, every couple days, I've been rebooting my phone just to flush anything that might be remaining in memory. So now that they're going to do it on their own, that's going to make things secure for more of us. And just for fun, I don't like to get into politics, but someone shared this with me last night, and I thought I'd share it with you. Breaking: President Trump wants to eliminate all capital gain taxes on cryptocurrencies issued by the U.S. companies. This would ultimately make all profits Americans make on holdings cryptos such as ADA, Algo, XRP, HBAR fully tax-free, as their creators are U.S. companies. That would also include, let me see, I had it on my list, and that would be Theta and Doge. So we'll see. I mean, until it's in place, until legislation is there, it's not, but it's really kind of hopeful to see that this administration will, from what it looks like, be more crypto friendly. And let's bring crypto back to the US. This current administration has just tried to push it out, and it's crazy. Being in technology for so long, it's like pushing AI out to other countries. It's like pushing .com out to other countries. It's like pushing tech to other countries. I mean, we're really strong because we have those industries. And why they wanted to push out crypto, well, your guess is as good as mine. Jay, that's all I have for today.